Here are the top stories for today, September 23, 2021. President Rodrigo Duterte insists the purchase of COVID-19 emergency supplies complied with the Bayanihan 1 law. He also remains relentless at lashing back at the Senate's continued grilling of the government over the issue. More life-saving doses, over 1 million doses of Pfizer jabs arrive in the country, boosting the government's fight against COVID-19. The country's vaccine czar suggests to start the inoculation of minors by the middle of October. The president says wearing of face shields is no longer necessary outdoors, but should still be worn in 3 C's, namely crowded areas, closed spaces, and close contacts. And a Sweet Feet, a cacao processing facility, is set to boost the local industry in a small town in Ilocos Norte. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. There will be sufficient COVID-19 jabs to start vaccinating the 12 to 17-year-olds starting mid-October. In his report to President Rodrigo Duterte, Vaccine Czar Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. pointed out that the Philippines has 23 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines and 20 million more are to be delivered until the first week of October.
So we are proposing, Mr. President, to open up the vaccination for children by mid of October. Kasi by the mid of October, may additional pa tayong 20 million na darating plus yung 23 million. Kayang-kaya na po natin vaccinate natin yung 12 million po na mga bata na 12 to 17. Pero ang recommendation po natin, mauna muna po yung may comorbidities at saka po yung mga anak po ng mga healthcare workers.
Galvez also said there are recommendations to the use of family approach in the vaccination rollout to address the current vaccine hesitancy in far-flung areas and among those in the lower-income families.
So ang strategy po na nire-recommend ng mga private sector is yung tinatawag na bandwagon effect. Na pagka pamilya na po ang pababakuna, ang nangyayari po ay yung iba pong mga pamilya na hindi pa napapabakuna ay magpapabakuna rin po.
Some 728,910 doses of government-procured Pfizer jabs are arriving in the country on top of the more than 1 million doses of Pfizer vaccines that arrived last night. Of the 728,910 doses, 51,480 are unloaded in Cebu City and 677,430 doses in Naiya. Meanwhile, last night's shipment of 1,028,430 Pfizer-BioNTech doses were unloaded in Naiya, Cebu, and Davao City. National Task Force Against COVID-19 Medical Advisor Dr. Teodoro Herbosa said the latest delivery will improve further the vaccination drive in the country. National Task Force Against COVID-19 Medical Advisor Dr. Teodoro Herbosa said the latest delivery will improve further the vaccination rate in the country. He cited the decreasing case fatality rate since last year, which he said can be attributed to the ramped-up vaccination drive of the government. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año reports that over 99% of the cash assistance fund has been dispersed in Laguna. Año said close to 2.7 billion pesos cash assistance fund have been distributed among low-income beneficiaries affected by the recently enhanced community quarantine status. Meanwhile, he said Bataan is currently at 80.33% out of the 700 million pesos financial assistance, while Metro Manila 8 LGUs have earlier completed the payout. The DILG chief urged the public to undergo swab testing if they exhibit symptoms of COVID-19 or if they are exposed to people with the virus. He said refusal to take the swab test is punishable with a fine of between 20,000 and 50,000 pesos or up to 6 months of imprisonment.
Pinapakiusapan natin ating mga kababayan, kung kayo po ay close contact or exposed, kailangan po tayo magpa-test. Otherwise po, mag-self-quarantine tayo ng 14 days at huwag natin itong lalabagyan. Ito po ang paraan para matigil natin ang transmission at talagang tuluyang magapi natin ang pandemic.
The Department of Health reported a decrease in the case fatality rate among COVID-19 cases despite a four-fold increase since last year. The DOH data showed that this year's case fatality rate was at 1.47% as compared to the 2.47% in 2020. The DOH also recorded a total case count of 472,205 at the end of 2020 versus a total of 1,929,711 from January 1 to September 21, 2021. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said the decrease can be attributed to the overall improvement of the country's healthcare system over the past year and its ability to cope with a higher demand for clinical assessment, referral, and management of cases. She also explained that the COVID-19 vaccination program played a big role in the decrease. Filipinos are no longer required to wear face shields outdoors. President Rodrigo Duterte made the pronouncement as he approved the recommendation of the Technical Advisory Group to limit the use of face shields to the so-called 3 Cs or closed, crowded, and close contact.
I was informed of the recommendation from the Technical Advisory Group and medical experts that the use of face shield on top of face mask may be limited to high-risk activities under the 3 Cs, close, crowded, pati close contact. This may include indoor establishments and transport gatherings, other activities that promote close contact as applicable.
DILG Undersecretary Martin Dino proposed the wearing of the vaccination cards like IDs when going to public places. Dino said it would be easy for the local enforcers to determine whether a person is vaccinated or not when vaccination cards will be worn like IDs. The vaccination cards are issued by local government units for those who receive their first doses. It also serves as a requirement to get their second dose. Several establishments and businesses have earlier agreed to give incentives to vaccinated individuals.
Kung ikaw ay bakunado na, paglabas mo ng bahay, isuot mo na yung vaccination card. Yung mga parokyano o yung mga papasok sa tinatanong nila, bakunado na ba? Paano mo malalaman na bakunado kung hindi nakasabit ang vaccination card? At paglabas mo ng bahay, hindi ka na maabala ng pulis, ng barangay, natatanungin ka, asan ang vaccination card mo? Kung antimano, isasabit mo na sa iyong dibdib. Di ba?
The Duterte administration complied with Republic Act 11469 or the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act when it procured emergency supplies at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. More on this from Lane Cabagani.
President Rodrigo Duterte insists that the government comply with the Republic Act 11469 or the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act when it procured emergency supplies at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The president made the statement in his taped talk to the people as he defended anew the government's purchase of COVID-19 medical supplies.
Pero para sa amin dito sa gobyerno, tapos na, nag-order, na-deliver, according to specifications, nagbayad tayo. All in accordance with the guideline of the Bayanihan 1.
He lamented that the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee chaired by Senator Richard Gordon is persistent in grilling the government over its decision to award Pharmally Pharmaceutical the 8.68 billion pesos worth of contracts for the procurement of personal protective equipment and testing kits. Citing RA 11469, President Duterte said the government is allowed to procure medical supplies in most expeditious manner when COVID-19 hit the country last year. He also said the Congress was aware of provisions in Bayanihan 1 which authorizes the government to buy emergency supplies without the need to comply with procurement laws.
What we followed was the emergency form of procurement stipulated under Bayanihan 1, passed by no less than some of the people questioning it today, which exempted us from these procedures so that we can buy the supplies. Congress knew of its urgency. Alam nila kailangan ang mga supplies, mga medical PPEs and everything to protect the frontliners, mga doktor, mga nurses. Alam nila na gaano kailangan na pabilisan.
Despite the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee's efforts to malign the government amid its lengthy hearings, Duterte said it failed to prove that there were irregularities in the procurement of COVID-19 medical supplies. He said it no longer came as a surprise that some senators were already tired of the political circus by members of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee.
After 7 hearings of proving nothing, no ghost deliveries, no illegal procedures, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee continues to conduct their witch hunt. But now only a few senators attended and even fewer were participating in the proceeding. Clearly, even other committee members and other senators do not mention in public are starting to lose interest in its useless political circus. Some of the committee members are trying hard, but again in vain, to find fault in the procurement process.
Since the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee conducted a series of hearings, Duterte has engaged in a word war with Gordon. Duterte has also turned the tables on Gordon, who he said has committed irregularities as chairperson of the Philippine Red Cross. In his latest verbal tirades against Gordon, Duterte said Senator has a dual personality which is banned or prohibited by the law. This pertains to Gordon being a senator and a chair of the Philippine Red Cross.
To me, under the law, you must give either Red Cross, kung gusto mo maging senador pa, o senador ka, hindi ka Red Cross. Pero para sa akin, you find the two positions very lucrative. I will insist that you give up one because you cannot be both.
President Duterte said he would also make sure that Gordon will face a case before the Office of the Ombudsman because of his supposed failure to use the humanitarian organization's money in the right way.
Dapat noon pa, dinimanda ka na. So I would like to inquire from the Ombudsman if there is a case filed against you.
For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Laid Cabagat.
Still to come, the House of Representatives is moving closer to adopting October 31 as the deadline for voter registration. And heads up, government workers, you may leave work early on Monday to dine with your families. We find out later why. Details ahead. This is the PNA Newsroom.
Mga kabida, importante pa rin ang disiplina sa pag-iwas sa pagkalat ng COVID-19. Upang masiguro ang kaligtasan ninyo at inyong mga pamilya, hanapin ang Safety Seal sticker sa inyong pupuntahan. Mapamall man ito, kainan, pasyalan, o kahit na anumang public o private business establishment. Ang Safety Seal ay tanda ng isang establishment ay sumusunod sa minimum public health standards ng gobyerno upang maiwasan ang pagkalat ng COVID-19. Ating tandaan, bida ang may tatak. Hashtag Safety Seal para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
Mga kabida, hindi pa rin nawawala ang banta ng COVID-19. Upang mapasiguro ang kaligtasan ninyo at ang inyong mga pamilya, hanapin ang Safety Seal sticker sa inyong mga pupuntahan. Mapa mall, man ito, kainan, pasyalan, o kahit anumang business establishment. Ang safety seal ay tanda ng isang establishment na sumusunod sa minimum public health standards ng gobyerno upang maiwasan ang pagkalat ng COVID-19. Ating tandaan, bida ang may disiplina. #safety seal para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bansa. Muli, ito po ang inyong lingkod, bumabati sa inyong lahat. Magkaisa tayo. Manila, God first.
At least 76 barangays in Butuan City will remain under modified enhanced community quarantine as COVID-19 cases continue to increase in the city. More on this and other news from the provinces from Chris Mundo.
The modified enhanced community quarantine in 76 barangays in Butuan City is extended until September 30 following a rise in coronavirus cases. In a resolution issued by Juan Caraga Shield, the Regional Task Force on COVID-19, the extension begins September 23 in the same areas previously placed under MECQ last September 7 until September 22. Only 10 barangays are under general community quarantine. As of Wednesday, the city has a total of 1,603 active cases and 287 deaths and a total tally of 10,284 COVID-19 cases since the pandemic began last year. In Benguet, starting Thursday until October 3, non-essential travel to Baguio City and the Benguet towns of La Trinidad, Itogon, Sablan, Tuba, and Tublay is suspended to curb the rising cases of COVID-19. Residents traveling within and between the list are required to present documents showing that they are authorized persons outside residence or are moving around for essential reasons. Cargo, delivery, and logistics services for essential or non-essential goods will continue. Meantime, persons 17 years old and below, senior citizens age 65 and above, and immunocompromised persons are encouraged to stay at home except for other purposes such as medical reasons. Meanwhile, the Emergency Operations Center in Cebu City said hospitals accommodating COVID-19 patients are now in a safe zone, citing the police and village officials' effort to instill proactive behavior in residents. Councilor Joel Garganera, head of the EOC, said the 15 public and private hospitals in Cebu City are no longer overwhelmed with COVID-19 patients and have coped well with the surge in cases that started in mid-August. Garganera also noted that the positivity rate is now below 10%. As the city is transitioning to MGCQ, the city will also ramp up convergence of stakeholders to prepare for the more relaxed restrictions. Garganera also pointed out that although the city is likely to be placed under MGCQ, the EOC will endeavor to retain some stringent measures to sustain the gains and prevent another surge in COVID-19 cases. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Mundo.
The Office of the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas tapped health experts to identify measures that could help in the safe reopening of the Cebu economy. This includes the improved ventilation and limiting carbon dioxide emissions in an indoor setup. Dr. Antonio Danz, convener of the Healthcare Professionals Alliance Against COVID-19, said COVID-19 transmission can be mitigated by reducing carbon dioxide emissions in indoor settings through proper ventilation. His wife, Dr. Leonilia Danz, who is an epidemiologist, also stressed the importance of having good ventilation in combination with wearing a face mask, physical distancing, and limited time of exposure. This can be done by keeping the windows open and through the use of exhaust fans. For windowless venues, high-efficiency particulate air or HEPA filter devices are advisable as these can trap droplets of respiratory infections which may carry viruses and prevent them from remaining indoors. House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco has led the filing of a bill seeking to extend the voter registration deadline for the May 2022 elections from September 30 to October 31 this year. In filing House Bill 10261 on Tuesday, Velasco said the period for registration must be extended to avoid massive voter disenfranchisement due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Velasco said the extension would also give leeway to Filipinos whose registration was delayed because of circumstances. Majority Leader Ferdinand Martin Romualdez and Minority Leader Joseph Stephen Paduano are also co-authors of the measure. The House of Representatives on Monday adopted House Resolution 2231, which calls for the extension of the September 30 deadline in view of health and safety measures and travel restrictions. Last week, senators adopted a resolution urging the COMELEC to extend the deadline until the end of October. Commissioner Rowena Guanzon, however, said the poll body is inclined to maintaining the September 30, 2021 deadline. Nonpartisan group and Commission on Elections partner Vote Filipinas urged Filipinos anew to sign up as the deadline of registration for the May 2022 national and local elections is nearing. The COMELEC has so far recorded 5.77 million new voters and a total of 61 million registered voters as of August 2021. Vote Filipinas will conduct a 2-hour voter registration town hall discussion dubbed #Magparehistro Ka Grand Town Hall Final Countdown on September 27 at 5 p.m. via Zoom. Relevant information about the 2022 elections will be discussed during the Grand Town Hall meeting. The public is encouraged to join the online event featuring interviews with COMELEC officials, corporate partners, the academe, and community representatives. The voter registration period nationwide will end on September 30. The Commission on Elections office in Dagupan City, Pangasinan has been recording over 100 voter registrants daily with just 8 remaining days before the September 30 deadline. City Elections Officer Lawyer Michael Frank Sarmiento said the average daily registrants was just 80 to 90 in the past weeks. Sarmiento said they anticipated the possible flock of last-minute registrants as the deadline draws near. He reminded the public to grab the opportunity to be registered, adding the Commission will not be extending the registration deadline. Their office is open Mondays to Fridays from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. during weekends. However, COMELEC Dagupan will be closed from September 27 to 30. Registrants are urged to instead proceed to the off-site registration site at the SM Center, Dagupan. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board has tapped some 22 public utility vehicles in General Santos City for the second phase of its Libreng Sakay program. LTFRB Region 12 Director Paterno Reynato Padua said they formally started on Tuesday the 45-day free rides for frontline healthcare workers and authorized persons outside of residents in the area. He said they contracted local transport cooperatives to serve various routes within the city, which is served by 213 assorted units. The PUBs will receive the rates per kilometer regardless of the number of passengers that they would serve. Padua assured that the upcoming payouts will be smoother when compared to the first phase, which was funded under Republic Act No. 11494 or the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act or Bayanihan 2. Malacanang has allowed government personnel to leave work after 3 p.m. onwards on September 27 in observance of National Family Week. Under Memorandum Circular 90, work in the executive branch will be suspended early on September 27 to allow government workers to spend time with their families. The Memorandum Circular was also issued to afford government workers to celebrate with their families the Kainang Pamilya Mahalaga in their respective homes. The Kainang Pamilya Mahalaga Day is celebrated every 4th Monday of September to encourage Filipino families to keep it as a tradition to share meals together. MC90 also enjoins the suspension of work in other government and private offices to celebrate National Family Week. Proclamation 60, signed in 1992, declares the last week of September of every year as Family Week. Up next, a cacao processing facility opens in a town in Ilocos Norte. And after 15 years, a mom reunites with her family in Pangasinan. Back after a quick break, stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Ako po si Sergeant Munoz ng Philippine Air Force para sa kampanya na Disiplina Muna na pinangungunahan ng DILG. Proud po akong sabihin na bakunado na ako laban sa COVID-19. Kaya naman po panatag ang aking kalooban dahil alam ko na protektado ako at ang aking pamilya laban sa coronavirus. Bida ang may disiplina. Kaya naman magparehistro at magpabakuna na para sa ligtas na pamilya at ligtas na bayan.
Hi everyone, James Deacon here. The COVID-19 vaccines are finally here, and the government wants to make sure the vaccines reach us. So let's do our part by making sure that we get registered to be included in the vaccination list of our LGU. You can register right in the comfort and safety of your own homes through your LGU's online registration platform. And you can also register on-site in the vaccination venues or through your barangay. Remember, getting vaccinated is the first step towards ending this pandemic. So let's do our part as disciplined citizens. Bida ang may disiplina. Magpakarehistro at magpabakuna para sa ligtas na pamilya, ligtas na bayan.
The Department of Labor and Employment reports that it provided 497 Bulaqueños with livelihood assistance under one of its key programs. The DOLE held the livelihood distribution in Malolos City in partnership with the provincial government of Bulacan in response to the loss of jobs and livelihood caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The beneficiaries came from the towns of Pandi, Santa Maria, Bulacan, Bustos, Kalumpit, Giginto, Bukawe, Hagonoy, and Baliwag. Some 227 disadvantaged workers received cash under the agency's Tupad Emergency Employment Program. Meanwhile, 210 beneficiaries received various livelihood kits under the agency's Integrated Livelihood Program. About 50 students who availed of the special program for employment of students received cash aid, while bicycles and cellular phones were distributed to 10 selected Bulaqueño workers as a startup kit for their transportation delivery services. Meanwhile, DOLE's Tupad program also benefited at least 250 tricycle drivers in Legazpi City. The driver beneficiaries will conduct a cleanup drive and beautification in their villages for at least 4 hours a day for 10 days and receive compensation for their work. The government will pay them 310 pesos per day or a total of 3,100 pesos for their 10 days of community works. Another 145 drivers are being screened to become beneficiaries of the Tupad program. Members of the Kapatiran para sa Progresong Panlipunan Incorporated or Kapatiran in Cabangcalan City, Negros Occidental continue to receive more livelihood assistance from the government. The beneficiaries are former rebels under the Revolutionary Proletarian Army Alex Bongcayo Brigade, which assumed the name Kapatiran as part of its institutional transformation. The Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, assured the Kapatiran of continuing support by providing them with technical and other relevant skills. As of Wednesday, some 25 members and their families in Sitio Mambinay, Barangay Locotan will undergo Shielded Mental Arc Welding National Certification 1 training. TESDA also turned over a sugarcane juicer machine as part of the package under the Sustainable and Resilient Livelihood Program implemented since last year. Previously, the TESDA partnered with the Central Philippine State University for the training for 25 Kapatiran members from November 2020 to January this year. In Iloilo, local producers have found an opportunity to market their products amid this health pandemic through the Tumandok, a trade and travel fair organized by the Provincial Culture, Arts, History, and Tourism Office. Tumandok, a Hiligaynon word meaning indigenous, started September 20 and will run until September 26 at Robinson's Place, Haro in Iloilo City. The trade fair features agricultural produce and arts and crafts from 12 participating exhibitors. The event forms part of the activities in celebration of National Tourism Month this September. Now, on its 15th year, the annual event was launched in 2004 in partnership with different academic institutions offering tourism courses in Iloilo City. Cacao growers in the small town of Adams, Ilocos Norte are excited to unveil a new brand of local products with the opening of a shared service facility for cacao processing. The Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, granted the request of commercial farmers to finance a facility with a counterpart from the Adams Cacao Growers and Processors Association Incorporated. The farmers, which include women from the indigenous peoples community, shared that with more tourists visiting Adams amid the global pandemic, the processing facility is a big help for them to come up with quality food products such as dark chocolate or cacao tablea. For her part, Vice Governor Cecilia Araneta Marcos assured her full support to the project. In the 80s, several cacao varieties were introduced into the rich soil of Adams, making Adams the cacao capital of Ilocos Norte. Some heartwarming news from Pangasinan. A 54-year-old mother was finally reunited with her family in Barangay Poblacion, Lingayen after begging in the streets of Muntinlupa City for 15 years. Dina Estrada went to Metro Manila sometime in 2006 to visit her partner who was in prison. In an interview with the Philippine News Agency, Estrada recalled that while in Metro Manila, she worked as a garbage collector and became a beggar after she lost her communication with her family. Estrada said she asked help from her neighbors to look for her daughter, Mexica, on Facebook. Mexica and her family meanwhile coordinated with Lingayen Mayor Leopoldo Batawil and to look for her mother. She said the Muntinlupa police found Dina begging for help in Cavite on September 17. Mexica said they are now also seeking help for the treatment of her mother who has cataract. Individuals who want to help Dina and her family may send cash through GCash with account number 0948 720 1112. Let's take a look at today's biggest stories. President Rodrigo Duterte insists the purchase of COVID-19 emergency supplies complied with the Bayanihan 1 law. He also remains relentless at lashing back at the Senate's continued grilling of the government over the issue. More life-saving doses, over 1 million doses of Pfizer jabs arrive in the country, boosting the government's fight against COVID-19. The country's vaccine czar suggests to start the inoculation of minors by the middle of October. The president says wearing of face shields is no longer necessary outdoors, but should still be worn in 3 C's, namely crowded areas, close spaces, and close contacts. And a sweet feat, a cacao processing facility is set to boost the local industry in a small town in Ilocos Norte. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And it is about 93 days to go before Christmas. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, stay safe, everyone.